It's kind of hard to make a topic like this and not make it controversial. But to get right into this, yes, I am choosing the top 10 best object shows to have ever been created. This is counting every single object show ever made since BFDI's first episode back in 2010. I only do have one rule though for this topic. To be classified as an object show, it must have more than one episode. So, as entertaining as something like Thanos is, this does not count since this is not a full-fledged series yet. Series that have been cancelled and at least have 2 episodes count as an object show in my eyes. To clarify, this is all my opinion when it comes to this topic, which means I'm right and you should listen to everything that I say. Let's get started! Alright, I'm starting off with a weird one, so this is kinda considered an object show. Paper Puppets is a show created by Yellow Angaroo that was released on May 18th, 2013. As shown, it started out with what the title of the show is called, Using Paper Puppets. Slowly as time went on, the show adapted into a full-on object show developed with Adobe Animate. The animation till this day doesn't have fluid moment every single second, but at the same time, that's what keeps the show unique and keeps it on a very good schedule. As time has went on for season 2 mainly, the show has made all of its characters truly mean something. Finished story arcs, new potential arcs to come, a developing style with a growing team every new episode. This show has grown a lot, and I think there is a lot of more potential to come. But I do kind of think for the final episode they should still bring back the classic.
Okay. Yeah.
This show is stupid. Like, seriously, they wanted to make this show stupid. Showvember, released on February 3rd, 2023, was originally just a joke between Samoa Sea creators. They were challenged by one of their friends to see if they could make a show, and yeah, we're currently on season 2 right now. And the crazy thing was, there was a new episode made by a different creator each time. To keep a long story short and a whole object show short, the team behind the season was given the cast elimination order. That's it. They saw what the characters looked like, but there was never any established teams, personalities, or structure on how the episode should look. This made every single episode just so bad that it actually became amazing. For example, one of the characters was actually just named Vegetable. So one episode Vegetable was a radish, next was a leek, and I'm pretty sure by the end was a carrot basketballer. Yeah, they did not care. Like, literally in the first episode, the host was super hyper and was like constantly bouncing around. Yeah, forget that. Towards the end became a low-life miserable dude, so yeah, that was fun. I quote a lot of moments from the show specifically just because it's so outlandish with every single second. But there's one similar show in my opinion that trumps this just by a little bit.
Oh, Fatty Bobo! Welcome to all of you to—
Now this show is really stupid. Object Show 87 by Plainsville, released on July 17th, 2016, is considered to be the first ever joke object show. What that means is to where nothing in it is literally taken seriously in the slightest. Some of their object show characters include a stick figure, the Big Ben clock, a leprechaun midget, freaking Keemstar, and personally, my all-time favorite object show character in existence, Inanimate Insanity Shirt.
Hey guys, it's me, Inanimate Insanity T.
I think the reason I love this show is it goes to the extreme with not caring in the slightest. Yeah, Showvember did that, but this genuinely somehow still had a plot to where you could understand what was going on. Like, I'm genuinely rooting for some of these characters to win by the end of the show just because of the depth they have to them. I love Kite because he's the only character that actually looks decent. Big Benny I'll always support since he's constantly getting bullied.
You're an idiot, and you'll never achieve anything. We're going inside of you now, goodbye.
Keemstar just has to be one of the characters that makes it to the end because it's literally Keemstar. And Stick Figure is somehow the all-around character I actually like the most. This was just a show to enjoy because it never really had anything anticlimactic to it. It was literally just made for fun, and I think that's why I enjoyed it so much.
Love is for little fraglies, and none of them in my country play!
This is a show I think has been on a good run for a while now. The Nightly Manor by Al Animations, released on May 31st, 2021, strays away from what an object show is supposed to be. The first episode is about a murder mystery, and it just goes straight into that. The first couple episodes are genuinely just okay, but once episode 4 hits, I think this is when the series took the turn that I really liked about it. The case is over by this point, and the 3 most recent episodes dive into the past lives of each contestant one by one. The animation in the backgrounds I think picked up a lot more from here on as well, so the visual appeal is another reason why this show is higher up. To not go into depth and without spoiling anything, this show stands out for a lot of reasons, but it mainly just feels very relatable. When death happens, it's gone forever from the start, so it's not like every other object show. These objects are self-reflecting on stuff from the past, going to places, and having actions that a normal human would do. But it still keeps that look and charm that an object show does, and it keeps you hooked because of that reason. Each episode, in my opinion, gets a little bit better every single time just because the characters' backstories become a little bit more crucial, or honestly just more slightly interesting to watch. GPS by far has the best backstory, and I don't think I need to explain why. It's stuff like this where people go all out, and it just makes the show so good in my opinion. Which leads me into my next object show I'm ranking. I know a lot of people have not heard about this one. If you're looking at this, you genuinely might be wondering, what the heck is this slideshow doing above all these other great object shows? This is Object Survival Island by XX Bombs Away XX, released on April 28th, 2015. This show starts out like any other object show with a decent group of contestants competing for a big prize. Nothing about it truly stands out around episode 11 in my opinion, and I'll make this argument that that's okay because other fans do this with object shows all the time, but I'll get into that later. OSI builds up upon its characters around this time by introducing some writing that I don't see often with other object shows nowadays. Multiple Mew characters having clashing personalities and having their own plots with others later on, character designs improving as well with the time of the show going on, really unique challenge ideas such as a snow bullseye challenge, which then leads later on to a snowboarding challenge later down that hill next episode. There's just so much for this for what was given. The designs of the areas can be put as subpar, but it's the creativity that makes it so interesting for a PowerPoint object show. Remember, these object show assets were created in PowerPoint. But the biggest thing as to why I love this object show a good bit more than others is because of what I mentioned before. It's the story that's behind it. It's like reading a moving interactive book. The stories can be built upon so much more since it's just a still image, actually letting you read and understand the full story as time goes on. Sure, it takes a while for it to get good, but what object show hasn't had that? Every object show I've listed before this also had a couple of okay episodes to start off with, and the same will go for the rest that are on this list. But this one isn't as popular as the rest, so I really recommend giving this one a shot. The first couple episodes really are not that long. This one I really had to think because I had to debate myself if this was nostalgia or not. Object Overload by Zany Leaves, released on April 21st, 2013. One of the original object shows created back in the day that never got fully finished. It was on a really good run with the first couple episodes, got rebooted, and then just fell off the face of the earth. One of the biggest reasons why I genuinely love this show is the variety of characters that was brought to the cast. Obviously BFDI did this, but Niall did this all when he was just a very early teen. That's a very big reason why this show is so impressive to me. The animation for its time is solid, and honestly good bits of it still hold up to this day. The characters themselves feel very vibrant alongside the show itself with its backgrounds, props, and even the plot. It feels like one of those shows that had a lot to offer, and it definitely did. There was planning for the elimination and new asset designs for the reboot, but they just never got finished. The fact that there was so much left scrap kinda makes us sad, but at the same time can still make you appreciate what we were given from the show at least. If it were to come back today, I genuinely think it can be considered one of the best object shows to have ever been created. I cannot tell you how much I regret not watching this when it first came out. One by Cheesy AFJ, released on June 11th, 2020. This became the main serious non-competition object show. And seriously, how could it not have? The style of the show is unlike any other that has been made out there. It has a strong connection opening to the audience, with it easily being relatable with the human-like aspect. It immediately cuts to something insane that grabs the viewer's attention, and it overall just comes off as something fresh and brand new. Granted, the first episode felt a little slow, but that's also what brought the charm out of the first episode as well. Speaking of the first episode, pay attention to the little bits of when the characters arrive. Cheesy AFJ already had plans for the future episodes just because of these moments. If you look at the later on episodes, you'll notice how they connect to the first episode. Seriously, go back and watch and you will see it. Writing is everything, and I personally think this tops animation overall. That's why the show is higher up, because it doesn't just have good writing. It has moments to hook you to where you want to keep watching. Tell me another object show to where it starts off with contestants and then transitions into a serious problem to solve for the next season. The show one has a charm like any other object show. It is hard to argue if there's another object show that isn't elimination based that can beat this one. Do most people in the OSC still know what this one is? Brawl of the Objects by Enko6, released on January 1st, 2013. Brawl of the Objects can genuinely be classified as the perfect object show, and that is not a joke. Not too many contestants, not too many challenges or even filler episodes, and overall got really creative towards the end. Without bringing it up for the rest of the video, every object show from here on out started out with the creators as kids, so the earlier episodes are all very subpar. But Brawl of the Objects honestly didn't have many terrible episodes to start out with. It could be nostalgia, but I can just jump straight into the first episode and not feel like it's hard to watch. It starts off with some funny moments, the voice acting isn't even that bad except for some muffling.
Go left, come on, go left, go left, go left, go, not go, right. Can't you tell your right and left? Go.
And the animation is very bearable. That's rare to say for a first episode. The challenges even start off to be fun to watch. Video game challenge, shopping spree, fighting against your opposites. Brawl of the Objects, I can say, had the most creative challenges for writing usually done within a month. Again, without spoilers, the last episode was by far the best in the series. There were a lot of changes when it came to animation, jokes, writing, and seriously everything altogether, but that made it so much more appreciative to watch and see how there was no lazy ending to give this show. There are some hidden stories revealed after the series was over, and it really just ended on a good note. I will say this, I think Brawl of the Objects has the best ending so far in Object Show history. That's including finished seasons of series that have ongoing seasons. But let me get into that. This was peak back in 2017. Inanimate Insanity by Animation Epic, originally released April 1st, 2011. The second ever object show to have ever been created and is still holding up till this day. I'll be honest and start off by saying this, I really wasn't a fan of Season 3, so I won't be talking about it for this segment. But Seasons 1 and especially 2 triumph as over one of the best seasons in object show history. Season 1 was clearly not the best at the start when it came off to animation, anybody can recognize that. But when the team was creating this as kids, it had that charm that object shows had back in the day. Simple eliminations with funny out of nowhere jokes that made the series as enjoyable as it was. The best part of Season 1 hands down was towards the end. They still had their certain way of joking about things, and the animation improved a little bit later on.
I say it's whoever can survive my super death trap wins.
Season 1 of the show felt like the foundation of the object show community to grow, and truly for others to create more as time went on. But Season 2 is the main reason why Inanimate Insanity is as high as it is. Around episode 9, when the team decided to get into a more serious tone, is when I think the show was starting to hit its peak. Ongoing character development, reintroductions to characters from the past, solid, and I mean solid animation improvement, and slowly looking like to be one of the best object shows to come out. Around those last 9 to 10 episodes is truly what I thought made or break this season. Tako coming back into the season to compete wouldn't have been a good move, but having her still on the sides in the episodes was perfect. The character development for Suitcase throughout the rest of the show, and for the characters to build around that, made a very interesting plot. I could go on for a good bit on why Season 2 is being close to perfect, but it did have some moments as to why it was not number 1. The biggest thing was the episodes after 10 came very slowly, but that's actually what made the animation and writing better overall. It truly felt more appreciative at that time waiting all those months for a new episode. When Season 2 came back 4 years later, episodes 16 through 18 felt super rushed and just not as comparable as past episodes. They weren't bad, but when you're comparing those and potentially debating to be the number 1 object show overall, stuff like that truly matters. The heart of the show felt gone around there, but that's not to say the animation and writing, it was still good overall. It was close, but Inanimate Insanity is just right behind them. I mean, how could this not be number 1? We all know by far it's really hard to debate this show. Seriously. Top pick, my show coming out later in the next year, which you should stay in tune for, and you gotta be around for it. I'm obviously kidding. Well, partly about subscribing and staying in tune for it. BFDI by Jack and Jellyfy, made on January 1st, 2010. BFDI isn't the best object show just because it was the first one ever created, or because it's the most popular. It's because the show has genuinely done so many things that I've never seen any other object show do. More so as well as they can do it. First of all episodes from half of BFDI and after are all callbacks to previous episodes multiple times. Whether it's as simple as a 2763 reference, or the walk that they did right before post-split. Bringing back an old season exactly 10 years later when the newest episode was supposed to release, or even constantly working on 2 seasons at the exact same time, with both never truly having one bad episode. Well, maybe except for one. But the writing itself has been going great for their most recent work, and past work too. Season 1 had that kid and simple feel to it. Season 2 expands on that and makes it dumber, but also more fluid with a full-fledged team. Season 3 exists. Season 4 was the return of all of that and bringing light to tons of new faces. And Season 5 was just a full-on development with genuine stories being built every episode. And with a cast of 40 plus contestants. Yeah, Season 4 had 64, but that was just all for fun. The biggest thing for me is BFDI has never lost its heart. This goes for shows overall. Many shows that go on for a long period of time eventually die out and people want them to end because they're not the same as they used to be. BFDI, I can say, isn't just the best object show to exist. it can be classified as one of the best shows to be produced on YouTube. Genuinely, what other indie shows out there have made as many full-fledged episodes that BFDI has made, and has stuck with it for as long as they have? They literally created 30+ minute episodes in less than 2 months of work. And if you told me that certain BFDIA episodes were made back in 2013, I'd believe you based on the writing. It's that good. But a new question arises from this. Which season of BFDI is the best overall? If that's a video you want to see created, make sure to leave a comment down below. As always, I'll see you next time.